As far as a fourth movie, maybe. I've been working for about 5 years straight on these movies, and so I'm eager to just have a little bit of a break. And then, yeah, I never say never, but we'll see.
I'm curious, did you always want to be in that line of work?
I always wanted to be famous.
Hi, Mr. West. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm a huge fan. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
I love X, but I love even more Purr. I think it was a blast. And Mia Goth's performance for me was chocolate good. And we're so proud of her because her grandmother is Brazilian. And how was working with her?
It's great. I mean, we met on X and we had a great conversation on Zoom. And we just really hit it off, and she really understood, I think, what I was going for with the film. And she had this a strong desire to sort of prove herself and to take on the lead role of a movie and to take on that responsibility. And I think she was ready to show everybody that she was capable of carrying a movie. And that, I think, attitude that she had was very similar to Maxxine's attitude. So it was like the perfect fit. And then we didn't know we were going to end up making 3 movies, but it was that kind of drive that she had and that dedication that she had that led to the 3 movies even being possible.
And did you ever imagine X as a trilogy?
Not at that time, no. At that time, it was just X. And then when we went to New Zealand to make X, I thought, how do we stay here and make 2 movies? Because no one in the world could make movies at the time. It was during the pandemic. And that's where the idea for Pearl came from. And at the same time I had the idea for Pearl, I had the idea for Maxxxine. And it was just a matter of, well, could we make X and Pearl back to back? And would people like those enough to warrant making a 3rd movie? And that's what happened. And here we are.
And why did you decide to shoot in that order? X, then Pearl, and then Maxine, and not the other way?
Well, I mean, it started with X, and then the reason we made Pearl second is because when we went to New Zealand, we built this whole location there. And we spent a lot of time and a lot of money making the farm that they live on in X. And we didn't have to build that again on Pearl because we had already built that. So all we had to do was paint it and put wallpaper up and make it look new again. And that was so much cheaper. So we pretty much had the set of the movie Pearl by paying for it on X. So it became this very affordable movie, and Mia was already there, and I was already there, and the crew was already there. So we were able to make those movies back to back.
And is it true that your idea was to release Pearl black and white?
Well, when we first had the idea for the movie, we were trying to figure out how to make a second movie in a row and how to make it as inexpensive as possible. Because part of what would get A24 to agree to it was to make it, a kind of too good to be true option. And so doing it in black and white, yes, it was an old-fashioned story, and so aesthetically that it made sense. But also it made more sense because we didn't even have to paint anything. The movie could have been made even cheaper than it was. But A24 had just made about 3 black and white movies fairly recently, and they said, like, if you really want to do it, that's fine, but we just made 3 black and white movies, and so it starts to feel a little bit like too familiar for our brand. And I said, well, then let's go the complete other direction, and let's make it incredibly colorful. And it's going to cost a little bit more money, but that's how we would solve that. And then they liked that idea, and so they said, let's do that.
Maxine has a Scream 3 vibe, and I love the Scream franchise. It's my favorite franchise. What were your inspirations? And there's any chance we can see a 4th movie?
I was kind of inspired by, just the vibe of movies in the 80s and the sort of movies that were really peaking at the time in the mid 80s, as well as on like VHS and things like that. And I also wanted to tell a story about a character in Hollywood where like Los Angeles as a character was a big part of the movie. As far as a 4th movie, maybe. I've been working for about 5 years straight on these movies, and so I'm eager to just have a little bit of a break. And then, yeah, I never say never, but we'll see.
Okay, Mr. West, thank you very much. I'm a huge fan, and the X trilogy is simply amazing. Kisses from Brazil.
Thank you very much.
You're a fucking movie star.
You take